Humans are unable to digest cellulose, and our appendix is greatly reduced and seemingly non-functional. However, anti-evolutionists argue the appendix serves an important function in aiding immunity due to the presence of lymphoid tissue. Antibodies are produced in all lymphoid tissue. However, it is misleading to suggest the appendix is vital to acquired immunity. The production of antibodies is a direct result of T and B lymphocytes being entrapped in lymphatic tissue after an antigen is detected in the body. The lymphocytes themselves are produced initially prior to birth from foetal stem cells and continue to reproduce throughout one's lifetime. Because the lymphocytes are simply trapped in lymphoid tissue, the percentage trapped in appendicular lymphoid tissue is minuscule in comparison to the rest of the lymphatic system. According to the American Journal of Epidemiology, there are an estimated 250,000 appendectomies annually performed in the United States. Surgery is the only way to resolve a bout of appendicitis, which would otherwise result in painful death due to peritonitis, intra-abdominal abscess, or severe infection following a rupture. In fact, so great is the risk and so severe the consequences of developing appendicitis, it has become routine for surgeons to remove a healthy appendix if they happen to be in the abdominal cavity performing an unrelated procedure. The appendix is another sound piece of evidence that reinforces the understanding our ancestors at one time had a diet solely consisting of plant matter. However, now that our diets have so dramatically changed, the appendix has become more harmful than beneficial. And this is exactly how natural selection works. For if we did not intervene in our own natural evolution by providing medical assistance to the sick, those more likely to suffer from appendicitis would die, unable to propagate their genes. And those of the population with reduced versions of the appendix would survive, and hence their offspring would have reduced versions as well, until the appendix disappears altogether. A herbivore ancestor is also supported by the presence of wisdom teeth, another set of structures that have become more harmful than beneficial. These molars were required for chewing and grinding plant material. Although over 90% of adults develop third molars, usually these teeth never erupt from the gums, and in 1/3 of all individuals they are malformed and impacted. These useless structures can cause significant pain, increased risk for injury, and may result in illness and even death if the impacted teeth become infected and go untreated. The plantaris muscle is used by animals for gripping and manipulating objects with their feet, something you see with apes who seem to be able to use their feet just as well as their hands. Humans have this muscle as well, but it is now so underdeveloped that it is often taken out by doctors when they need tissue for reconstruction in other parts of the body. The muscle is such an unimportant part of our anatomy that 9% of all humans are born without this structure. Homo sapiens are taxonomically classified as apes, and one of the defining characteristics of apes is a lack of an external tail. However, human embryos display the initial signs of a tail during our early development. Between 4 and 5 weeks of age, the normal human embryo has 10 to 12 developing tail vertebrae that extend beyond the anus and legs, accounting for more than 10% of the embryo's total length. The embryonic tail is composed of several complex tissues besides the developing vertebrae, including a secondary neural tube, a notochord, tail gut, and mesenchyme. By the 8th week of gestation, the 6th and 12th vertebrae have disappeared via cell death, and the 5th and 4th tail vertebrae are still being reduced. Likewise, the associated tail tissue is also undergoing cell death. However, sometimes there may be a problem in the programmed regression of vestigial embryonic structures. Just as in the previously examined case of the dolphin's vestigial limb buds failing to regress, causing the adult animal to be born with hind limbs, so too has the failure in the regression of the human tail been observed, where children have been born with a vestigial appendage. Although the expression of a human tail is a very rare occurrence, the coccyx is a more permanent reminder of our tree-swinging days. Over time we lost the need for a tail, but we did not lose the need for the coccyx, which, much like the rudimentary femur found in whales, now functions as a support structure for various muscles, providing support for a person when sitting down and leaning back, as well as supporting the position of the anus. Humans also have remnants of ear-wiggling muscles. There are 3 small muscles around each of the human ears that apparently have no function whatsoever. In other mammals, these muscles are often enlarged and serve an important function, such as in deer that use them